Many of the buildings here are more than 200 years old and recognized by UNESCO as preservation worthy. It is a hilly place where you can catch some beautiful views of the landscape. This is our apartment. My girlfriend Hannah and I live here, together with our 2-month-old son. The apartment was originally 54 square meters with 1 bedroom and a cold loft for storage. Together with the renovated upper floor, the living space is now 87 square meters. When we first found the apartment, we fell in love with the view. Originally, our idea was to make some minor upgrades, so we could live here as a small family, but that plan went out of the window pretty fast. The apartment was more worn out than we knew, and the old walls and floor made it a cold place to be, especially in the winter. It had not been renovated for decades, and the loft space was dark and dirty. The staircase was not possible to get up without acrobatics, which didn't feel like a long-term solution. We decided to completely renovate the apartment and redesign the layout of both floors. We removed some of the walls and the corridor area and relocated the kitchen and the bedroom. Since we wanted to keep the shape of the roof, we decided to build a new staircase and use the old one for storage. The central position of the staircase makes the upper floor feel connected, and we added a new bedroom here in addition to our own. This was actually the original layout of the building from over 100 years ago, though we're not sure if it was used as a bedroom at the time. Since the upper floor was very dark, we added 3 skylights to maximize the natural light. We opened up the floor over the kitchen to bring the natural light down into the rooms below. Getting into the apartment, you're greeted by a generous double-story height space, exposed beams, and lots of light. Our main goal was to make this apartment the most sustainable and economical for us, while keeping the historical value of the building. Since the amount of renovation needed took us a bit by surprise, we had to save money from the beginning and did a lot of the work ourselves. This allowed us to take good care of the details and improve our building skills. For example, we discovered that the amount of leveling compound needed to even out the floor would make it too heavy. So we ended up raising the floor of all rooms to the same height instead. This is quite a unique feature for such an old house. It also allowed us to insulate between the build-up structure, which provides a passively warm floor all year round. We also changed out the construction of the floor up to the loft, which had been a cold loft structure for many years. This gave us almost 40 cm more ceiling height in the living room. And with the extra space in the flooring, we had enough room for sloped pipes, which allowed us to relocate the kitchen. The kitchen is built out of simple IKEA modules and second-hand products. This saved us a ton of money and made it possible for us to build it exactly as we wanted. It has everything we need, with a full-size fridge and the freezer placed in the kitchen island. During the renovation, we discovered that it had previously been a carrying wall between the kitchen and the dining room. It had been removed without compensating the support, so we added a wood beam that feels like a natural separation between the 2 rooms. All the walls have been insulated with windproof fabric, 5 cm insulation, and gypsum boards. The only exception is the TV room, where we kept the original wooden walls. We love the texture and the warm atmosphere this wall creates. The staircase is quite narrow, and underneath is the storage room of the apartment. It is quite small, but we like it a lot, and it makes us feel like we live at Hogwarts. To bring the spaces together, we decided to go for double doors between the living room and the dining room. The doors are solid wood and we bought them second-hand. They mostly stay open. When going upstairs, you're greeted by exposed beams in the ceiling and light coming in from both sides. The skylight above the kitchen brings a lot of natural light into the space, and the open floor makes the room feel connected to the rest of the apartment. It was important for us that the area between the bedrooms felt like a good space to be in itself. Since the bedrooms are quite small, we decided to find other ways to store all our clothes. This works well for us and makes it easier to sleep when we are on different schedules. The wardrobe is a simple IKEA product that we painted and customized to fit just right in the space under the window. We like the minimal feel of the bedrooms, and with the new skylights they feel nice and bright to be in. We replaced the old windows and insulated the ceiling to avoid freezing to death in the winter. We especially love the south-facing window, where you can wake up to the view of the 900-year-old Stavanger Cathedral. Because it's an old wooden house, the structure is that the entire house is leaning towards the chimney in the middle. It was several layers of different things outside of the chimney, so when we started to tear it down, we suddenly saw that the chimney was really, really nice. Of course, we also had to repair it as well. The bathroom is the only room that we left untouched, as it was the only room that had recently been renovated when we found the apartment. We loved the view from the bathtub and added a sliding door in an attempt to make the entrance feel less awkward. Since Gamle Stavanger is not UNESCO heritage, but it is preservation worthy, we have to apply to the municipality for every little thing that we want to do outdoor. For example, it took 1 year to get the approval for the skylights. Luckily, we got it 1 day before we were supposed to install them. That was a bit of a shock to us. We severely underestimated how much the renovation was going to cost, so we had to increase the budget several times to make sure that we actually ended up with a good result. For anyone doing a similar renovation or a project, I would recommend to not get your final ideas before starting the renovation. A lot of the project will unveil itself, and sometimes it's better to restore and use what's already there than to build something new.